Hey guys, I hope you're doing super well today. We're back with another video. We've been doing a lot of top 10 videos lately, a lot of rankings, and I'm going to keep them coming, but we also need to get back to some book reviews. So today we've got my two latest reads. We've got The Prince of Thorns and The King of Thorns by Mark Lawerence. Now, as this is the first review I've done in a while, I think this is a great opportunity to take a look at how I review books and to give the review videos a bit of a formatting. So we're going to be talking about the story of the books first, and then I'll give you my overall rating for the books, where I rank them in my all-time fantasy book reads, and then after that, we go into the specifics of the book. What did I rate the world building, the writing, the plot, and the characters? So if you're more of a character reader, you can find out if it's a book for you. If you're more focused on world building, we can talk a little bit more about that. So diving in, what is the story about? What is the Broken Empire trilogy, and what happens in A Prince of Thorns and A King of Thorns? Whilst keeping it spoiler free. Don't worry, I won't be ruining any of the story for you guys. So Prince of Thorns and King of Thorns are books 1 and 2 of the Broken Empire trilogy by Mark Lawerence. They are set in a post-apocalyptic Europe, so it's very much a medieval Europe, just with hints of a once very futuristic society, just pitter-pattered throughout the world and throughout the story. And our main character that we are following is Jorg Ancraft. And we're following him on his journey and his rise to power. So we pick up with Jorg Ancraft in Prince of Thorns when he is on the road at the age of 14 with a band of outlaws. He is not living with his father, who is a king of a small country. He's by himself with about 20 to 30 guys, and they're out on the roads just being outlaws. And through the novel of Prince of Thorns, we get to see the last 4 years of Jorg's life, what led him to being on the road with the outlaws. And we get to see Jorg come back to the kingdom and try to gain favor with his father and try to start rising up the ranks a little bit. As we can see by the titles of the books, being Prince of Thorns, King of Thorns, Emperor of Thorns, Jorg has his sights set pretty high. So he needs to start claiming some territory and building up his claim for the throne and for the empire. And one of the brilliant things about this series is the books are nice and short. So we get grimdark fantasy within a few hundred pages. So the audiobooks were about 9 to 15 hours, with the first book being around 9, 14 for the second, and 15 for the third. So it's very fast paced, and the flashbacks allow us a little bit of the history just so we can see Jorg grow over 4 years, but we get a story that happens over a matter of days in the second book, and a matter of months in the first book. One thing I should say is Jorg Ancraft is not a character you're going to want to cheer for. He is morally black. He's a horrible person, but it's so entertaining to watch him grow and watch what he does to gain his power through the books. So let's talk about how I rated these books. I rated both the books a 4 out of 5. And I rated King of Thorns a little bit higher than Prince of Thorns, as I just liked the story in book 2, where it was more built around a battle that was taking place on one day, where we got flashbacks to see how Jorg was able to prepare himself for this battle that was to come. So at the moment, King of Thorns is sitting at number 39 on my all-time fantasy books list, and Prince of Thorns, sitting a little bit lower, is down at 53. So now going into how I rank the other categories of this book. So talking characters first, I gave the characters a 7.5 out of 10. I really like what Mark's done with Jorg's character in this book, but outside of him, everyone's enjoyable, but there's nothing special and there's no standouts in the characters or in the character work, so we can't give him a high rating. But they are a fun band of outlaws to hang out with, and we do get our stereotypical characters that fit into the band very well, such as like the very loyal friend that will stick by Jorg's side even though they're being a band of outlaws. And we get the tall, broad, strong idiot in Reich, and everyone fits into that band very nicely and they've got their own roles. And then in book 2, we get an addition of another POV through someone's diary entries. And I really liked what they did there. That was very interesting and fun. It was good to get someone else's perspective other than Jorg's, but Jorg's was done excellently. And we'll talk more about this in the writing style, but Mark captured his voice perfectly, and the narration of the book was excellent. Now, going into the plot and how I rated the plot, I gave the plot a solid 8 out of 10. Very enjoyable plot, just seeing a young man in a medieval Europe on his right journey to power, trying to go from prince to king to emperor. I love that idea. It's nothing new, it's nothing fancy, so we're just giving it an 8 out of 10. We're not giving it a 10, but it's very enjoyable. The pacing was good, very fast-paced books. They're not too long, they don't drag on. There's only a little bit of pages wasted. And if you don't mind a morally dark character, again, these are just fun, enjoyable reads. The flashbacks really help with the plot here as well. As we are just getting a short story in the books, the flashbacks allow us to get 4 years of character development into a few months or a few days of the story, which is very nice, and it helps quite a lot of the novels to make them enjoyable. Going to the world building and the magic, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Now, just a medieval Europe, it's nothing too new. The post-apocalyptic element was really fun, and seeing these things, these futuristic technologies just pitter-pattered throughout the world, that we get to see these really futuristic technologies that have just been laying dormant for centuries. It's very fun, and it's very interesting of how the history of the world led to the magic system, where I won't spoil it for you, but something happened with the futuristic society that led to its downfall, that also led to magic being able to become a thing in this world. And the sorcery, there's not too much of it, but it's a little bit of it. It's fun. There's monsters, which are always fun to see. So I gotta say the world building is really good and very solid, but nothing out of the world like a Stormlight Archive sort of thing. And then lastly, going into the writing style, 8.5 out of 10. Now this high rating isn't because of the prose or anything like that. It's just because Mark perfectly captures the voice of his character. He's going for an angsty teen that's just grim and dark and evil and on his rise to power. And the tone that he gives through his writing is super simple, easy to read, and it's very believable that this character is just some angsty teenager through the writing. And the narration of the book, the narrator was picked perfectly. His voice just matches exactly what you'd picture York's voice to be, and he really elevates the character through his narration. So writing, narration, 8.5 out of 10. Excellent. So just summarizing everything, if you like grimdark fantasy, if you like a morally black character, and just want some shorter fantasy reads in a dark medieval world, if these world building elements sound interesting to you, you should definitely check out the series. It's not going to be for everyone. It's not a character you're going to cheer for or like, but I found these really enjoyable, and I definitely am going to continue this series. I'm going to continue reading Mark Lawerence. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it, guys. Please make sure you're subscribing so you can see how I rank and review the last book of the series, Emperor of Thorns. We've got another ranking video coming out later this week where I'll be ranking all the series I've read. So thank you so much for watching. Please comment down below your favorite grimdark books so I can read them next. And yeah, like the video, guys. Thanks so much.